Welcome, everyone. I'm Greg Schnell, the Canadian technician, here to host the Market Buzz on Friday, January 25th. We have lots to talk about. This is the show that has weekly setups across the U.S. market. Using the tools available on StockCharts, we'll look for long time frame trades. And don't forget, if you're looking for intraday updates on it, please subscribe to my articles and Twitter feed. Okay, lots to cover off today, folks. We have some interesting action going on. First of all, is the gold rally finally starting? And I know we've talked about this flicker and flame many, many times. We're going to talk about it one more time today, and there's a reason. And the marijuana names had bounced off the lows and then kind of consolidated. Now they look like they're ready to kind of continue popping. And it's amazing. It doesn't matter what age group of people I talk to, from 22-year-olds to 75-year-olds. They're all interested in the movement. So we'll cover those off. Oil names are perking up a little bit on the back of some unrest in Venezuela. That's nothing new. It just seems to be a little more on the agenda this week. So those names are starting to perk up. And again, that follows on the buy signal we got last week. Semiconductors had a great day the other day with Xilinx popping, and then Intel overnight was not as good. But in general, the semiconductors are nice, and three of them are on the most active stocks today. And then we're going to look for new highs. So we got lots to cover off. Let's jump into the charts. First of all, market doing really well here, climbing nicely. Usually I just like to click on it and just see what's going on here, but we're trying to break through the prior highs. So this is the Dow. Let's go look at NASDAQ 100. Got a little bit to go to get through Friday's high. The charts are trying to shape up. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to take out last week's high. So we'll have a higher low, but not a higher high. Here's our weekly view. Again, so it's going to look like an inside week. And then on a point and figure chart, we have broken back out into a bull market. So that looks very promising for us. I usually like to, just from the home page here, click on the market summary, get a feel for how everything's moving. I usually like to sort it by most optimistic first. And you can see the materials, the U.S. materials are different than the Canadian materials. Canadian materials, basically, if gold and metals are running, that's materials. In the U.S., that's DuPont, companies like that. So it's a way different mix. Anyway, materials are doing very well. Industrials are up today. Energy, nice. And look at who's bringing up the rear. And this was yesterday as well, even though we had a flat day. Consumer staples was one of the weakest sectors. So you're noticing that the sort order here is pretty much all of the bullish sectors are at the top, the growth sectors are at the top and cyclical strength, and the other ones are down a little lower. Financials is in that lower area, but it's still, we need the financials to do well in a bull market. So anyway, gold is topping the list today, and it was up $10, and it's probably up a lot more since I first looked. I've been following the miners a little bit this morning. We'll go up to this tab right here and show you what's going on there. But in general, everything is positive with the exception of utilities and drugs and telecom. So these are, for the most part, just defensive sectors, and everything else is doing pretty well. Internationally, everything's roaring, so that's probably helping our run today. And copper has been the toughest one to look at. So maybe we'll just click on that before we get out of here. And the point I want to make on copper is, this consolidation down here at the lows is really messy. And if we look, zooming in, it continues to just wobble around this 10-week, and yesterday it was touching it, and today it's above it. So it's hard to know which way copper wants to go. I really like the fact that the full stochastic on the weekly chart is getting back above 50, because you can see basically since we started our downtrend earlier in the year, it hasn't been able to do that. So that's a very big positive. Now, we don't want it to just do one of these where it rolls over halfway. We'd like it to actually get going and then stay up there for a while. So this is very positive that it's actually getting up that high, and obviously we get it closed there today. That would make it much more bullish. So when we see the material sector up, Watching copper is pretty important, but you can see the silver and gold here are doing very, very well. Oil's okay, but nothing great today with light crude oil ETF, flat on the day for the most part. And just looking quickly at the currencies, US dollar is down, and so everything else is up, and that's one of the reasons we're getting the commodity rally. Okay, let's jump in to look at the new highs first, and the reason I want to do that is this is very simple. So we're later in the month, right? We're around January, end of the month. And this month's high is greater than last month's max for the 12 months. And the close is greater than $1. So if any time this month that the high is greater than last 12 months highs, just spit out a result. And it has to be country is USA type of stock. You could do country Canada, country is India, whatever you'd like there. But this will just generate a list. So I'm pretty sure if I ask most people, they would say, oh, we have a few, but not very many. I think on the other side of it, the actual scan result says we have 246, which I think is quite excellent. So anyway, we would replace an existing chart list with this result. And I would just suggest you have a whole bunch of scanning places to dump things into, and we're going to put it in dire straits today. Preserve the sort order, because I had set this up to in scooter ranking and then by sector. But the reason I want to do this, obviously, let's just sort it. When we go down here, and I just have to get through all of these ETFs that don't have groups associated with them. I just want to scroll down here, and here what we see is these internet and media communications. These things are doing quite well. And again, just going to look at these charts breaking out to new 52-week highs. That's a really nice chart. You know, all of these, just quickly looking through them. And so if you're having trouble finding, what's breaking out, just run this simple scan. And again, is all you're doing. You're late in the month, and you can just look for anything that's a new high this month is greater than the last 12 months highs. And that's just a very quick way to get it. And then it doesn't matter if it made it yesterday or the day before or last week, you're going to see everything. So again, quickly looking through here, let's just turn on one more column. Just want to show the industry, turn on the sector. There we go. And what I want to show here is banks, the financials are really starting to perform here. Healthcare, look at all of these healthcare stocks and lots of good biotechnology names if you like to play. Lots of beta. These have it. These stocks are just popping. And so as they break out to new highs, as the market tries to rally here, this is an interesting place to get on board with some of these. So, and again, it's nice when they've run up and pulled back, and then they give you a chance to kind of build, buy a little better. And here's Regeneron, right at 400, looks like it wants to start to go. This one looks really nice, trying to hold support above that $3 level. Vertex Pharmaceuticals, we saw the breakout last week, and this week it's pulling back slightly. So just looking through these, you get a real quick, but look at all the healthcare. Here's some pharmaceutical names that are starting to run, and we saw Loxo. I think this was a merger buyout or something. And, Viva is taken off. So anyway, it's a simple scan. It's a really nice way to just quickly go find what is starting to work. And isn't that interesting? Dry Ships has finally started to do something. That stock has been a dog for a long time. Lots of stuff in the gold names here. Anglo Gold Ashanti, Nevsun Resources. This was a buyout or a merger. Kirkland Lake Gold, this chart's just been up and away. Doesn't really care about the price of gold, just seems to take off. Silver Standard Resources doing really well here. Anyway, the idea being just, you can jump in, go by sector, and depending on what you're trying to find, here's Twilio just keeps running. Workday just keeps running. Maybe it's because it's on Phil's shirt for all these golf tournaments. I don't know. Here's Avgo, Xilinx. But anyway, I think you get the idea. There's lots and lots of these setups. And the biggest thing for me, obviously, is when you're trying to find stocks breaking out, you don't want to buy them after they've already run up dramatically. So this scan works nice because it actually gives them a chance to break out and have pulled back, and then you can start to look at them on a daily or a weekly day basis. So I'm just trying to find one here that, this one, let's just click on it. I have no idea what Calyx Networks does. This chart's just been up and away for a whole year. I'm just starting to go through 1075 here. PPO is turning up on a weekly chart basis. Wow, that's just a nice climbing stock, and it's trying to get through resistance from years ago up around 10 bucks here. So really working nicely. Anyway, I think it's a good scan that brings names we don't know to light. So anyway, leave that there. Okay, I just want to get in on some of these oil stocks here. So first of all, sectors. This is for the last week, and this is compared to the S&P 500. So the S&P 500 is the flat line and what's outperformed and what's underperformed. Utilities have still been okay, but again, today they were the underperformer and everything else was starting to run. And if we just turn off the S&P, this is the absolute value of each group move this week. So not compared to anything, just how much has it moved, and materials are down still a little bit. Energy's down slightly, but still utilities are holding up the best. I actually expect it to come over to this side a little bit more. After last week's surge, it's not a surprise that we have that. Okay, so a couple weeks ago, I think it was last week actually, 1 or 2 weeks already, that I should have put in the date on here like I did. I'll go back and try and solve that. But we got a buy signal on my bullish percent energy sector, and it started to run. And up here is the XOP, the oil and gas production and exploration ETF. And what I like is when this is bouncing off the lows, it gives you a nice place to start to buy for an uptrend. And so we've had this big pullback, and the momentum is clearly down near the low levels. And what we want to do is when this starts to turn up, then you would buy. Now, we do have a couple of examples where it chopped around in 2008, but for the most part, here's one where it did a quick whip and then took off to the upside after that. So I still think there's opportunity here. Let's go into the next chart. Oops, one back actually. And the point I want to make on this chart is, for these commodities, there's a couple of things that you can keep track of jointly. So you just put a few panels on the chart. So up at the top is West Texas crude. I've got a 50-day moving average, and it's sitting just above the 50-day. The bullish percent energy index is sitting right around 35. That's not very bullish, but it is above its 50-day moving average. And in general, that's a good place to kind of get on board. I like it when they all turn above. So last week we finally got some of that, and then this week it pulled back early on. So here's an example. XLE had moved above the 50-day moving average, pulled back for 3 days and started to push up. And same thing here, and pulled back. So they're just starting to push back up again. I really like them. I think there's lots of opportunity there. So the other thing about the energy sector, this is the scooter ranking listed in order, and you can see this goes 60, then 90, then 150. So the order has changed since the last time I sorted this. Just going to make this so easy that everybody knows how to do it often. You just go click on all of these, and we're going to get rid of these numbers at the front and sort it by the strongest scooter ranking. And we're going to go in here and remove numbers from the front of here. So we want to get all of these numbers gone, remove the numbers. And then what we do, I usually flip it back into summary mode because that gives you some choices. I'll add volume here. And the reason for adding the volume is so that if they don't have a scooter ranking, we can just use the volume. Okay, so now we have the scooter ranking taking over everything, and then when we get down to the bottom of the scooter ranking, it'll rank by volume instead. So now we want to go to the very bottom of this page, and again, just scroll down there, and there's a number and sorted order button, and now we're going to sort the whole list based on the current strength. So we can quickly just jump into 10 per page mode. And the idea being, here's Petrobras, and this is a gorgeous chart, right? We're sitting here, we made highs in May, made highs in October. Brazil in general has been on a run. So this is turning up right above zero on momentum. Nothing wrong with that. Here's Lukoil and trying to push to new highs. Sunoco did make new 52-week highs. Who knew an oil company would be up in 52-week high territory? Here's Gazprom trying to break out. Cabot Oil and Gas, this looks really nice, getting above this $25 base. This was kind of a, hello, I'm getting interested, pull back, and now we get the chance to buy it, breaking out of that base again. When you get to see these, let's click on that one. When we get to see these in a weekly chart format, here's the scooter up above 75. Full stochastic didn't even make it all the way down to 20. That's usually bullish. That gives you a nice run like this. So we like to see that kind of bounce up there. It is making higher lows. Got a little bit to go to make higher highs here, but in general, that 1 week spurt, I would just say, looking back across here, we've got a nice 1 year level at $25. If this can start to turn up at all, that would be helpful. And the PPO is actually accelerating right off the zero line, which is usually a pretty good place to get on board. Okay, so just quickly looking through some of these. CVR Energy, this has been consolidating for a year. Tellurian, none of these charts are getting great yet, but I would say, here's one trying to get back above the 200-day moving average. And there's lots of stocks in here, but just quickly sorting them like this. If you wanted to go find scooters around 70, usually I like that level for looking for stuff that's breaking out. This one, it doesn't seem to matter what the price of oil is done. It just keeps wandering sideways for a year and a half. And Schnell Energy, the LNG company, this one looks like it's trying to turn up well above zero here. Very bullish setup, nice consolidation level. Okay, so you get the idea. These oil and gas companies, I think there might be some opportunity there, a little bit of it based on the Venezuelan situation, but I still think all of the other signals are starting to trigger, so it's a good place to get on board. Okay, same sort of chart for the bullish percent index on gold. And what we do here is bullish percent crossed above 50 back in, or crossed above the 50-day moving average back in December, and we ran up. And then really for the last month, we've gone sideways, haven't had any real price action. But look at the gap up in gold today. This is clearly breaking out to new, 6-month highs. And we've had this nice 3-week pullback, and all of a sudden it's starting to accelerate. And this is the gold ratio. And last week I mentioned that it was starting to fall back below the 50-day moving average. So that was a sign to get very cautious. And it just, spent a few days down here, but this resolve to the upside is very important. So one of the key things you want to look for is all of a sudden, something just kind of slowly building a base, and then it gets a real thrust. And that's what we're getting today. So the next thing I would like to watch for is the number or the percentage of gold mining stocks to actually move above 50. We haven't seen that for a while. So if I just open up this chart to a few more days, let's go back to 2015. And what we want to show here, maybe just change the width and the height. Let's go 1400. Okay. And just there. So now what you see here is when the bullish percent index starts to get above 50, this is when you really get the big moves. And so that's what we'd like to see. And all these other ones have just stalled out around the 50% level. So our next goal here, yes, getting to 50 is important, but really we want to see all of the gold stocks start to participate, and that'll tell us that there's a broader thing going on. So there's lots of nice stocks in there. If we were to just jump in and start to look at them, this Kirkland Lake Gold, it's listed both US and Canada. But how nice is that chart? I mean, it's just been a bullet higher from 27 to 37 and looks like it's ready to continue. American Palladium, Wesdome Gold Mines, this one's been a really nice mover and just starting to kick it up again today. And this is based on scooter ranking. You can see we could also just sort it on change, which stocks are moving the fastest. But this JNUG this morning was up by about 5% or 6% on the open. It's already up 12%. Doesn't look like much, but this is the 3 times. And just the only thing you want to look at, even if you don't trade the 3 times, is it starting to break out of a base? Because the moves are big enough both ways that when that starts to break out, it's pretty important. So, if you could see some sort of a break like this, where all of a sudden all of the gold stocks start to go on a run, pretty important. And even these triple charts you can draw trend lines on. I would just say, this one's been breaking over the last couple of weeks, trying to get through this level. And we could also do one here, which looks a little more shallow, and probably we're sitting right on top of that one. So whether you use the first one or the second one, it doesn't really matter. The bottom line is, if all of these trends are starting to break, then you're probably finally got something good, and a move into gold would be preferable. So continue to watch these stocks. I think there's big opportunities here. Some of these, let's just work through a few of them. Maybe, why don't we do the same thing? Let's keep it in percentage change order and just see what's going on that way. We'll go down, get rid of these numbers here again. So this is very quick and easy to do. Edit the list, select them all, scroll to the bottom, delete the numbers. And again, we have to go to 2 different screens to do this, because now we want to go back to the summary page and decide if we want to sort on percentage change, scooter ranking, whatever. So let's just do percentage change today to be different. And the way we do that, once we've got the sort order picked, we just scroll to the bottom and hit number in sorted order. And that brings this up. So again, this is something, once you've got your list made up, you can just quickly run through. And now we're just going to jump in through some of these charts. So Dolly Varden Silver, 5-year view, been declining for about a year, starting to make higher lows and higher highs. Had a big test this week and it's starting to pop up. Here's JNUG we just talked about. Exelon Resources. Oh, I really like this kick, pull back, and then an opportunity to pick it up with a little better base. That's nice. So that works really well. You can put your stop just below today or just below this week or something like that. And here's your PPO turning up. Nugget, again, this is the 3 times bull. The other one was this is for the bigger gold miners. That was for the juniors. We want to see this trend break out here, and we're at 10% move this week. Silvercrest Metals, this thing just keeps going higher. If we click on this chart and work in on a daily, there's just nothing we don't like about that price action. It's working really, really nice and starting to break out to the top side. It just doesn't get any better. Okay, and then Velocity, 3 times shares, long silver, same idea. Use it. If you don't want to trade it, just use it as an indicator. Here's Great Panther Silver, trying to make a higher high and a higher low here, so this looks nice. Arian Resources, really nice downtrend here. If this starts to break out, I think that could be nice. Positive divergence on the PPO, so that looks good. And just Turquoise Hill Resources, this is trying to make a base here, just got a PPO cross this week, full stochastic moving back above 20, positive divergence here where this is higher, where price is lower, so that's a nice full stochastic George Lane divergence, and we want to see that pop to the top. New Gold, this has been a dog just sitting down in the bottom right hand corner drilling here, and they're trying to get something going, but all of a sudden this thing's starting to pop. Alamos Gold, again, all of these have big downtrends, and so you're looking for some of the breakouts, and we're going to find some here. If we sorted by scooter ranking, we'd see some of these, but look at this Sprott Silver Trust. This thing is starting to really, really move, so somebody's buying in. Timmins Gold Corp, nothing there yet. Coeur d'Alene Mines, this one's making a higher low here, trying to hold above the 50-day moving average or 10-week. Panther Resources. So I hope you get the idea of how you can just kind of quickly flip through these charts when you've got to set up in industry groups and then go find what you like. Now, we picked today's change to figure out which stock is going to go higher. The other way to do that, obviously, sorry about the scrolling, is to go edit the list. And we're just going to pick them all, get rid of the sort order we did, and go back to the scooter ranking just to get sort order. So click on summary, And the Scooter ranking, again, is like a sports ranking for stock. So it's just trying to tell us what's working better. Now we're going to scroll to the bottom of the page and just hit number in sorted order, and we've got it. Okay, so one of the benefits of doing it based on the Scooter is obviously strongest stocks first. Let's just go to 10 per page and work through that. And, that Kirkland Lake Gold, I think that's an uptrend. Here's Alistair Gold, nice breakout today, trying to get through $3. That's a 2-year high. North American Palladium just gently wandering up. If we shortened this chart and got rid of these $188 stuff, I think they've probably done a few contractions of shares. Westdome, this is 440 was the prior high. We're just breaking through that today again. I think that's just a beautiful cup and handle setup, ready to rock. Grand Columbia Gold, same sort of thing. Big giant base trying to build out of there. Nice chart. Anglo Gold Ashanti. This one's been moving. Nice 5-week consolidation. Tight. Hardly broke down at all. Looks like it wants to break out to the upside. Torex Gold trying to make new 52-week highs. IU Gold Share Trust. Centerra Gold. Look at that nice move. This thing, all of these are just starting to get rocking. So anyway, I would encourage you to go take a look in there. Lastly, I just want to cover off the marijuana names because they've started to try and run, and this is a really whippy group, so be careful. But I sorted it by Scooter ranking, and obviously most of the bigger names are on that list. And if we just jump in and go look at some of those charts, there's some clues here. So here's Canopy Growth Corp, and it had accelerated up for kind of 2 weeks and then consolidated sideways, and now all of a sudden it's breaking back out again. So it looks like it's getting the right direction. Afria, Insys Pharma, just sitting down in the bottom corner, not really interested in that one too much. Corbis still rolling over. Here's Hydropothecary. This is a nice stock, actually, that base building, giving you a pullback, and then if it could start to take off again, you try to buy it. If it breaks down, you just want to let these go because they're going to be very, very volatile. Here's E+, Pyxis, or Pyxis, I think it is. Anyway, $15 trying to break out to the upside here. Higher low and momentum, building a nice base. Can set your stop relatively close. GW Pharmaceuticals trying to get back through the 200-day. Here's CanTrust Holdings. Nothing going on really there. This is the medical marijuana ETF, and it's really simple on this one to just keep a 50-day moving average. And so let's go change the 200 to 50. And the reason for that is when you get this stock breaking above the 50-day, it's a great place to be involved. And when it's not, you don't want to be involved. So this is just the ETF for marijuana related life sciences stuff, all of the health benefits of pain medication and that kind of thing. And there is a big move here to take people off opioids and get them on marijuana. It's less addictive, and you can use oils to rub it on your skin instead of smoke it or whatever. So for a lot of us, we might not understand it all, but I think there's definitely a move here to try and get this going. So keep watching it. On the weekly charts, it's in a very risky place with lots of opportunity to move both ways. Anyway, thank you for taking the time to join me on Market Buzz. Market Buzz airs live on Wednesdays and Fridays at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, 7:30 Pacific time on StockCharts TV. You can also catch replays on the StockCharts YouTube channel or on the StockCharts TV, which has a running list of technical charting informational shows. Don't forget to log on and sign up for my articles and Twitter feed. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.